David.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Very good, thanks. Yourself?
Thank you to be in Saudi Arabia and to come to visiting us.
Pleasure. Good
Can
to
you
be
tell
here.
us little more about your job and what you are doing at KPMG?
Yeah, sure. So I work in the UK firm of KPMG, but very much on a global role. So I look after the delivery of KPMG services into one of our major global oil and gas clients. And I also look after the delivery for the UK firm into the energy and natural resources clients here in the Middle East region.
And while you are visiting Saudi Arabia, how do you see this region?
Very diverse. I think it's very easy to generalize around the Middle East. When you have the privilege of going country to country, you realize how much regional and national diversity there is between countries.
This is totally true. What do you see is the most critical innovations reshaping the international energy sector?
I think we have to start with artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's kind of an obvious place to start, right? I think if you look across an integrated oil and gas company from the upstream through the midstream and into the downstream. In the upstream, we've been doing for many years using lots of data to do predictive maintenance and predictive analytics to look at maintenance schedules and optimize downtime. That's been something we've been doing for many years. In the midstream, in the trading business now, we're using a lot of technology to do algorithmic trading, a lot of blockchain technologies in there as well when we deal with counterparties.
Absolutely.
Lots of for vessel movements and cargo tracking. And then in the downstream business, again, a lot of work there around reducing flaring, reducing some of the environmental emissions and improving margins with the use of AI and getting better insights more of that data that we collect from IoT and some of those sensors in the field as well.
So we usually refer to this sector as the ENR sector. What does it stand for?
So ENR is energy and natural resources, and my background is in part of that, it's oil and gas. But of course, ENR is much wider than that in energy and natural resources. We look at all the utilities in the wider sense and energy in the wider sense there as well.
So this sector is undergoing a rapid digital transformation, right? Because we have a demand for new type of sources of energy and natural resources consumption. So what are the most significant challenge this sector is facing right now and that needs innovation?
I think there's two primary areas there. Large oil and gas companies, large utility companies have a lot of aging and legacy infrastructure, a lot of legacy IT, what we call technical debt. And in order to take advantage of a lot of the new innovations in the market, such as AI, you typically need to move to much more open and cloud-based architectures. And that takes quite a bit of planning and execution to get that right. We also have geographical constraints around cloud adoption, particularly in the Middle East. That's starting to ease now quite quickly, with cloud becoming more pervasively available in the region. So that's helping our clients take advantage of some of those cloud migrations and transformations. The other part is the regulatory activity in the area. So regulations like NIS, the DORA and the EU AI Act, a lot of regulatory obligations on companies which they have to comply with. We've had GDPR for many years. There's increasingly a lot of regulatory constraints the companies have to get compliant with. It puts more responsibility on the IT organisation to use that data in responsible and ethical ways.
So you mentioned quickly cloud, AI. Those technologies are available in Saudi Arabia for Saudi Arabia companies that are operating here.
Yeah.
Do you see that it has an impact, that the availability of this kind of technology to eventually run net zero strategies, for instance?
Yeah, I think so. And you obviously have ESG coming across that as well. And adopting a lot of the latest cloud platforms means it's a lot easier for companies to take advantage of innovations in the marketplace. And if you've got a more legacy IT environment, it takes longer to get those capabilities and systems into the enterprise architecture. So being cloud first and leaning into some of the cloud opportunities helps companies to take advantage of that. A lot of the major cloud providers are very focused on their carbon footprint, on their emissions as well. So clearly moving in that direction has those benefits.
So not only the producers, but also the consumers. This is what you mean.
It's looking end to end, isn't it? And not just of our own personal carbon footprint as an organisation, but from our supplier landscape as well. What does the green footprint look like there?
Data volume is growing.
Yeah.
We produce more data than ever, and especially now with generative AI, we even produce more data than before. So, what are the best practices that the ENR sector should have to be able to cope with this growing data volume?
And this is a challenge which a lot of our clients have. As you collect more and more data, what do you actually do with it to drive business insights and drive business value? And it actually starts with making sure that data is secure, that is well protected in your estate, especially when you're moving to a cloud architecture. You need to holistically look at your security posture across all of the enterprise assets. It's also looking at the hygiene of those data. If you're going to drive insights from AI and analytics, you can only do that with good data. So we spend a lot of time with our clients working with them to get good data governance, good data architectures in place, and doing that very much as an initial pre-step to building some of the use cases on top which unlock the business value higher up the stack, such as AI.
That's very interesting. You use this word of data hygiene. This is a very interesting term. Could you explain a little bit more what do you mean by data hygiene? Because it looks like this word hides a lot of types of work that KPMG is undergoing.
Yeah. And it's really making sure that you can have trust in your data, that your data is accurate, that it's meaningful, that you can drive those business insights from those data. If your data is out of date or if it's error prone, you're not going to be able to drive the right insights and reliable insights. So it's very much a foundational step that we take with lots of our clients, making sure that your enterprise architecture is sound, that you've got a clear journey to cloud, that you're looking at your security posture. Cyber is an increasingly important part of that. But also when you move that data into the cloud, you can have trust in that data, and therefore you can trust the outcomes that your AI is generating from you on the back of that.
So now with generative AI, people are very conscious of data hallucination, for instance, hallucination from the AI models, but actually the accuracy of data always been a concern for you. You didn't wait for generative AI to create this kind of problems.
And your AI algorithms can be super clever, super smart, super sophisticated, but unless your language models are accurate, unless your core data that you're applying those algorithms to is sound, your insights are going to be constrained because of
Absolutely, and it always been the case. Data accuracy always been a problem.
But it's not the most fun thing to do, right? It takes time, it takes effort, it takes investment to get your data well matured, but then your insights are only going to be solid on the back of that.
And I guess you would safely say that KPMG excels at making this kind of efforts to be sure that the data is accurate.
We do, and there's many things we do well across KPMG, as we know, and our clients value us for that. But one area we're particularly known for in this sector is data science and data as a general discipline, something we do very well.
You've led the global IT transformation, and this was for major enterprise, not for small companies.
Right.
So, what key lesson did you learn during this time, and what do you think can other industry leaders can take away from this experience that you had?
Yeah, there's several things there. I think the first thing you have to start with is very, very tight alignment to the C-suite and responses behind the investment. So if a company is investing in a particular area, it's very important that the folks signing off on that investment have line of sight to the business benefit and the business value that you're intending to unlock. So I'd say starting off with that C-suite alignment. What's the prize? What's the mission? What are the steps to get there? Being clear with those stakeholders that the path to realizing that mission is not linear. There will be curveballs along the way. Things are not always going to go well, and setting expectations there at the start. Then I think it's doing things in bite-sized incremental chunks. So rather than waiting for a big bang transformation where everything comes at once in maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years time, that you're unlocking value in much faster sprints, 3 months, 6 month sprints, whatever it may be. So you're unlocking that value into the business much more quickly. You're burning your investment at an unpredictable rate, and you're building confidence in your sponsors as you're doing that. Then it's also thinking about how are you going to run that for the long term? How are you going to make that a sustainable and reliable set of operations into the enterprise that you can ensure people are adopting and using, and you're tracking the value through into the development and delivery of the technology into the organization.
A more personal question now. Many people are hesitating to do business in Saudi Arabia, and it's not your case. Absolutely not your case. You are an experienced practitioner of your field. Do you see any obstacles to do business here, to apply your science, your knowledge here, that are maybe insurmountable obstacles, or everything that you know can apply here?
I think it comes back a little to what we said at the start there around the region being very diverse and very different country to country, understanding that and respecting that. As KPMG, we're a global firm, but we have a the value we have is in how we show up to our clients in the region and in the country. So partnering with our colleagues in each country that we operate in, bringing that global capability and our global perspectives to bear on that. I think there's a huge opportunity in the Middle East. If you look at some of the investment cycles in some of the larger European headquartered oil and gas companies, they're not investing in the ways they have in the past. There's a lot of cost takeout focus there. They've made a lot of these investments historically, and they're now rightly able to harvest those benefits. In the Middle East, we have a lot of technical debt typically in the oil and gas sector and more broadly. So the investment here that we see here in Saudi Arabia, across the region, with the investment that's going in to catch up very, very quickly, backed by sovereign wealth investment, partnering with organisations like KPMG, where we've done this before and we've done it well, and now bringing that into the Middle East, we can really accelerate some of those outcomes as we drive that value through to our clients.
So in a certain way, you say everything you know, everything that you learn in your expertise, your very long expertise, applies here, definitely. No major obstacles because you have the relays with a local KPMG.
Yeah, we should never be arrogant to think it's a lift and shift of exactly how we've done it before. There's always going to be regional differences and company to company differences, sector to sector differences. But I think the benefit we've done it before, we've done it well, we have the methodologies, we have the accelerators, we have the client examples that we can bring, so we can really give our clients a head start to accelerate the investment that's going on and the capabilities that are being delivered in the region.
Good lesson learned for every very experienced people in the world. It's possible to do business in Saudi Arabia without many obstacles.
With that local context and that local help, for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic. So one other personal question, and it will be my last one.
Yeah.
You visited the different booths that we have here on the Leap, and many emerging technologies have been presented.
Yeah.
Do you foresee one emerging technology that you think will have a deep impact on your sector?
I think firstly for Leap, it's my first time to Leap, but it's great to have everything under one roof. We meet with clients, we're meeting with supplier partners, with alliance partners. It comes back again to AI, and I think everything comes back to AI, but we've got to understand which components of AI are really going to accelerate that future growth. You look at some of the co-pilot type use cases where it's side of desk for productivity and knowledge workers, speeding up their outcomes, speeding up reliability. And I think in the oil and gas sector, it's really looking at how technologies like digital twin, for example, can help our oil and gas clients to model different scenarios. Underneath all of that, for machine learning and AI, it really comes back to the processing horsepower. And I think the one thing that's got to unlock that has got to be quantum computing and bringing in that extra horsepower and step change in compute power that comes from quantum is probably the underlying technology that will really enable everything else that sits on top of it.
Yeah, quantum computing.
It's hard to pick one, right? But I think quantum would be the one to pick out.
We agree on that. Quantum computing is probably the next big thing, and coupled with AI, it will have a major impact on this sector.
Also pushing things to the edge, right? Edge computing plays a part in that. But to single one out that enables kind of several different areas, I think quantum computing would be the
And
one.
what about the AI computing vision? Do you think it's also or AI assisted vision? Is it also something that
I
you see?
think it comes down to the human aspect of that, right? And having, this comes back to the people aspect of what we do, that we've got practitioners who understand the technology side of things, the AI technology and what it can do, but also understand the business and can apply that technology capability into the business, and the folks in the business running the business processes understand the technology side of it and bring those two worlds together. It's no longer just about people who work in the business or people who work in IT. There's a convergence of people and human talent there as well.
This is so important what you said. It reminds me another sentence that has been said by another person on your seat.
Really,
we will not be replaced by AI. Actually, we will augment it by AI.
Absolutely.
And the only people that will be replaced by AI is the people that are not using it.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Thank you, Nick. It was a pleasure to have you here, and
you.
thank you all for attending this.